Well, welcome to another episode of Business Ahas. And as I always say, we have an amazing guest, and I'm looking forward to today. And it's going to be a little bit unusual because I'm actually going to give my guest today a title that she probably has never heard. I hope not. I've been thinking about this now for about a month. I had the opportunity to meet Carol, learn about her background and what she's done. So I'm officially going to be giving her the title of the Renaissance Woman. Absolutely, the world of strategy, leadership. I had the opportunity to read both of Carol's books before I met her, and she was very surprised, and I'm a vicious note taker. So we're going to talk about them a little bit today. So I have my signed copies here of Carol's books, and we'll talk about them a little bit as we talk of our visit today. But I'm excited to have her on the show from a leadership perspective and also strategic perspective and how she processes and how she's been successful in her career. I'm looking forward to the series today. So welcome to the show, Carol.
Thank you, Jim. Pleasure to be here.
And actually, the first time we met in person.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
And, but I'm pleased to meet you, and we're fellow ASU grads.
Yes, go Devils.
Go Devils.
There we go.
Absolutely. But welcome to the show, and hopefully you like the Renaissance woman.
I do.
You are. I mean, genuinely, you are. You're how you've written. And I'll be frank, not using AI, because back when you wrote your books, there probably wasn't much AI out there, and it's a very genuine feel of kind of who you are. And so getting to know that before I actually met you was quite a thrill. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Yes. Well, I am a futurist. I'm always looking ahead. You know, the best is yet to come. And that's part of being a strategist, too, is looking forward, seeing the trends out there. And what does it mean? What could it mean? So, yes, thank you. I like the title.
So when you were a teenager, you probably didn't decide, I'm going to be a strategist.
No.
So what led to that?
You know, I think it was being involved with lots of different groups, community involvement, piano lessons, flute, violin a long time ago. I mean, it's one of those things that when you're involved with different overlapping circles of social capital, people, and learning, and, the community itself, I think just those experiences may lead a person, and it certainly led me to be diverse in my interests. And that means there's a lot of different things that collide in a person's brain.
So
right?
Our eyes are doing the same thing right now. We're kind of squinting a little bit because so over that course of time, with all this different levels of collaboration and people and life experiences, led to what you've then decided to become?
Yes, I think so. But also, I think that my career progression has led to it, too. And we can talk a little bit about that if that's interesting. But I think one thing has built on the next, and then doors open. And you have to be ready for the door to open, or to even recognize, hey, there's a door open.
And it probably helps a little bit that you're an extrovert.
I am. You know something, though? We'll talk a little bit about this, too. I am an extroverted introvert. And I've realized that.
So for the first time, actually, it's called an ambivert.
Is it?
As in ambidextrous.
Oh.
It is an ambivert.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you're both.
Hey, yeah.
So you need Carol time.
I need quiet time and focus time.
Yeah, I call it Carol time.
Yeah, I need Carol time to think and to be a thought leader. So that plays into it.
When did you realize that okay, you know what? I actually am a thought leader.
It was during the authorship of my first book. So
is it this one?
It is, and so this is called Building Your Career Portfolio, and it's about not how to go get a job, but it's about how to diversify your career with possible valuable career assets, like you're diversifying a financial portfolio. First, having a primary income investment, having a potential secondary income investment. If it's doable in your life, it may or may not be, but even if you're working for a corporation, having something that you might be able to freelance and do to create that sense of identity. I know I own something that I can do and do it really well. The third is a community engagement. So that's the community investment. You can meet people that you would never rub elbows in your primary or secondary investment if you're engaged in the community. And the fourth is lifelong learning. And that could be formal, could be informal, workshops and get-togethers. But the idea of lifelong learning, it's like having cash in your pocket. So I
It's always like cash in your pocket. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
When did you write this book?
I wrote this in 2001, so it was a long time
So
ago.
24-ish years ago.
Yes.
And as you explain, because I've not seen this book before.
Yeah.
As you explain it to me, it sounds very profound today.
It is. It's really relevant.
And it's not changed.
It hasn't. And I saw too many people in my earlier career feeling like they're chained to their job, ball and chain. Oh, it's Monday morning. And I thought, why have I always been able to come back? Even if things might not have been going perfectly at work, how was I optimistic? And it was because I was involved with community engagement. I was always involved with some kind of like professional association, lifelong learning. And I realized that it's because of these career assets that I felt more mobile to be able to make choices and to move it throughout my career. So,
which then turned into your community assets. You're cashing your pocket.
Yeah. The lifelong learning, cash in the pocket, community assets, more like a long-term bond. The minute you join a board, you're not going to be cashing in. You're going to have long-term investments where people see who you are, how you show up, how you contribute or not contribute. A lot can be said by serving in the community and meeting people that way, that they really get to know you in a different way.
You mentioned a board. There's many different types of boards out there.
Right.
Nonprofits, for-profits.
Right.
Fiduciary, non-fiduciary, public.
Right. Well, one of the things about this book that has really stayed throughout my presentations and career is the idea of personal purpose. So I would never tell somebody to just go add stuff in their career, like go find other jobs or go just jump on a board. It really starts with your investment strategy, which I call your personal purpose. Many people call it personal mission statement, whatever.
Whatever they want to call it.
Exactly. And so the idea of spending some time, even every year, to reinvent it, because you don't have to have a personal purpose that lasts throughout your whole lifetime. That's why I think most people feel a little afraid of trying to articulate it.
It can evolve.
It totally can evolve.
Sure. Then it's okay to evolve.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
And even in my audiences, research has shown that 1% of all people, so 1 out of 100 of all people, and that's probably overstating it a little bit, ever take the time to contemplate their personal purpose. And there's many reasons for that. Of course, busyness and going from one thing to the next, which we all do, right?
Every day.
Totally. And but the idea that there are some of these pivotal questions, and I brought this so that I could remember these myself. But I try to come back to these personally at least every year or so. 7 pivotal questions. How would you like to be remembered many years from now by those who knew you? Like your kids or your grandkids or
friends, family, colleagues, sure.
Yeah. So how would you like to be remembered? What would you do now if there was no risk of failing? And that one is one of my favorites because we all get paralyzed by fear from time to time. Like, I can't do that because what if it, maybe go bankrupt?
If there was no risk.
If there was no risk
I like it.
Right? And then think of 2 times in recent years where you felt like you were making a difference. Because sometimes I think, and I'll speak for myself, I'll use an I statement. Sometimes I think, oh, I'm not doing enough or I'm not making a difference. Nobody cares.
So what are those 2 things that pop in your head where you really felt like you actually made a difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then how can you immediately ensure that you live your purpose each day with no regrets? Do you sense an apparent theme in these patterns? And I'll share personally how I got to this and briefly summarize your thoughts in stream of consciousness. It could be one sentence like corporate ease kind of thing, or could be just pages of ideas, but that is more than most people ever take the time.
You know what I like about that, Carolyn, if I may?
Yeah.
So when you said people don't think about, you said 1% or 1 out of 100. And when you immediately said it, I started thinking to myself, what is my personal purpose, right? I mean, it popped in my head.
Right.
And then I said to myself, well, what questions would I answer? And you just gave them to me. So I think it provoked me to then start thinking about this, then becomes the journey of what that is.
Yeah.
Because I think part of it might be for those only 1 out of 100, the other 99 people, is they don't know how to answer the question. Because I immediately had this feeling of, well, what would I do to answer that question? And you really, my opinion, you've solved for me at least a large chunk of, if I answer this, that gives me then that direction, that space to be able to say, okay, now I'm defining what my purpose is.
Yes.
And it also evolves as well, right?
Oh, yes. And I think that this is what helped me to choose my personal purpose. So mine is, and it is a little bit of a corporate ease statement because I've taken so much time to really whittle it down. And it hasn't changed over the last decade or two. I mean, I'm surprised it hasn't changed, but my personal purpose is to be a thought leader, helping others find and fulfill their purpose. So the thought of being a thought leader, it means that I need to be learning and evolving and challenging myself. If I'm in an environment where I'm patted on the back, hey, just go over in the corner over there, we don't need new ideas, well, then that's not going to be a place where I can thrive. So I know now that environments that are learning environments, that are looking toward the future, those are environments that help me to be a thought leader and that I can thrive in.
So 24 years ago when you wrote the book, or however the journey
It
was,
took me 4 years to write
I was
it.
going to say, 'cause yes, usually it take a little bit longer than a day or two to write. You think that was the time that you realized this was your calling?
It was the time I realized that I could align my different career assets. I had to practice what I preached, right? To a personal purpose. So does it allow me to be a thought leader? Does it help me to be able to
I use
encourage
the term,
others?
you have to eat your own dog food.
Right.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But yes. And so I think it was a journey writing this book. I mean, I had young kids at the time and I had to do this like after 10 o'clock at night. I'd stay up till 1 or 2 in the
Your
morning.
kids at the time were 7 and 11.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
your boys at the time. I just did quick math.
Yeah. And so, but I think that the idea of being purposeful is very important to anyone that's looking to prepare themselves for a rewarding career, life path forward. And that's why for someone to just volunteer because someone asked them to, I mean, there can be merit in that sometimes when Aunt Matilda asks you to walk in the walkathon, right?
It's different.
But we could all be out eating chicken and chocolate cake every night at an event, and it might not be very purposeful. It just might drain you over time. So I think that a purpose for some people, it might be to work with young children or they love animals. So maybe the Arizona Humane Society would be a really great fit.
Why did you say that you're surprised yours hasn't changed in the last decade?
Because every once in a while I think, what would be my personal purpose? I mean, I try to answer these questions
that you wrote.
Right. And when something, purpose is a process. So these are 7 pivotal questions. And it took me a long time to get to these, but generally in my classes or my workshops, I will allow 7 minutes for the group in a silent, self-reflective to answer these. And I tell them no analysis paralysis. Work fast. We're not going to ask you to reveal your private information. I'll ask you about the experience later. And then I ask them what question might have been most pivotal. I never ask them to share their personal purpose because they're still thinking about it. But I encourage them to take this home, turn the TV off, lay on the couch and just finish this because you'll be doing what most people never do in their whole lives.
So in that 7 minutes that you give them to complete it, you're looking for very quick, rapid recall in your head, and then go back later and review it.
Sure, because purpose is a process. So we think of these questions, we see that there might be some patterns or some themes that jump out, and then that helps to guide us what we might articulate as our personal purpose.
So now here comes the big question.
Okay.
That one aha moment, the one time that you said, that is probably the most profound thing I have ever experienced in my entire life. You can go back to childhood. It can be in the last month or two. What's that one? I'm sure there's plenty, but which one pops in your head to be your biggest aha moment?
I know. When you said you were going to ask me this, it's like asking, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite restaurant?
Sure.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But here it is.
Okay.
In order to be creative, you have to have focus. In order to be creative, and in my case, a thought leader or bringing new information to the foreground, I have to have focus. I have to have some time to think and time to research.
When did that happen? What was that aha moment that happened then?
Well, it's happened throughout my journey. My undergrad and my first experiences were journalism and broadcasting. And then I moved into the utility industry for 16 years, and then vice provost at Arizona State University for 6 years. Then CEO of a healthcare organization, a nonprofit healthcare for 6 years, and then started my own firms. But
So
anytime,
would you say the aha moment has been the evolution?
it has been, because
Interesting.
anytime I've written a story that appeared in a publication, I had to have quiet time to think and put together resources.
There's not this one thing then. It's a culmination of things.
It has been.
That's your aha.
It is. It's
And
a culmination.
And by the way, it's still growing.
It is.
Interesting. So,
Yes.
so as you continue in this journey,
Yes.
in your journey, that will only enable you then to continue to grow in what that evolution is going to be. And
Absolutely.
And that's the aha.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think the aha for me is that we all need focus, or I need focus to be creative, but we all do. And that means maybe pulling yourself out from the mainstream of activities for a few weeks, if possible. Like for my career portfolio book, I stayed up late. My kids, everybody else went to bed. The strategic impact, I had already started writing it. And then when the publisher, Fast Company Press, said that they were going to publish it, the pandemic came.
Oh.
And you know something? The COVID pandemic, it was sad and tragic as it was, it allowed me to be isolated and have some focus to really hone in on this book. And then Leadership in the Metaverse, that one I actually took a few weeks in the summertime to get away from Phoenix when it's hot,
Mm-hmm.
120-degree weather. I got away.
So these are both COVID time.
The Leadership is not. No,
Okay.
Leadership was published in 2023.
Gotcha.
But the same process. I needed quiet time to really when you write a book, you have to go way out here with research. Any good book has this much research to get to this book. So that means you have to go, here's all sorts of information about the metaverse, for example, articles and interesting observations. But what does it mean about leadership? Where does leadership need to go? So when you go way out, your mind goes into all sorts of directions. It takes days sometimes to come back to your work
To
and
kind of
focus it.
funnel it back in.
Well, you're an author too, right?
Right.
And so that process.
But it took me 10 years.
Well, we're all different, right?
Yeah, it was a long time. Quite a journey. And for me, having to read it over and over and over and over again, and editing was very painful.
Right. And we all look back in a book and we say, I'd write that book so differently today, with the wisdom we have today. But you can't think that way. We just know that we're producing the best that we have in this moment. And sure, it might have different perspective 20 years from now.
So is this evolution, and I said the word earlier on, in creating the Renaissance woman, that you're okay with that?
Well, I never thought of myself as a Renaissance woman, but I take that as a compliment.
But do you now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So being a thought leader.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great segue in using the word your own evolution has created this Renaissance view of the ultimate thought leadership perspective in making an impact and a genuine difference in other people's lives.
Yes.
And that bakes your cookies.
Yeah, it does. It does. I was invited to go out to the TSMC, the Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company.
She knows what it stands for. You know what the
I
acronym stands for. I think it's amazing.
It's the biggest news in Arizona. It's going to be a $165 billion economic development operation out there in the North Valley. They invited me to come out to talk about leadership in the metaverse. And the book's a leadership book. It's about 3 leadership qualities or styles that will be needed in the future as we continue to go into more and more of an immersive, and quite frankly, it could be a distracting environment, right? Where we are appearing more as avatars in different virtual worlds.
So you've not done this yet, or you are going to do this?
I did it this past week.
Fascinating.
And they were so appreciative. Really high security operation. It has to be. I couldn't take my phone in there. They held it at the front. But
were you okay with that?
I was okay with that. Yeah. Well, I knew that was part of the deal. But the great thing about this is they know a lot about AI because their chips are helping to fuel NVIDIA and these different groups, right?
Incredible.
But they didn't know much about the metaverse and how companies are actually using these online virtual worlds like Nike, Gucci, Walmart. They're all experimenting. It's very nascent. But so to learn about the metaverse first and then figure out how it applies to what I studied in university, leadership theories, and really think about it. It takes time.
And how they collide.
How they collide.
And I think collide's probably a good word.
Yeah,
because they don't always come together equally.
right.
And sometimes when they hit, it's quite an awakening.
Right, right. So, yeah, it's a journey and thinking about how to think sometimes. That's why I think higher education is so important, because as we go through the journey of life, we have to learn how to learn, because if we don't, we'll just be responding to every emergency that happens in front of us.
You're an inspiration, and
Thank
I'm
you.
actually thrilled that I'm hopefully get soon to be able to call you a friend.
Oh, well, thank you, Jim. Well, same here. I just think that the best is always yet ahead.
I'm in awe. I've got little goose pimples of you saying words that mean a lot to me in my heart,
Oh, that's
and making a
great.
difference in other people's lives and other humans and businesses, in the pulse of a business, and impacting other people with your own successes and stories is remarkable.
Well, it comes from decades of living, right? But I always think that these are the good old days. These days that we're living right now are the good old days. We're going to look back and say these were wonderful years.
Well, we're creating them.
And that's the key, right? Rather than, getting at the end of life, oh, 30 years ago was the best time of my life. Well, I can understand that and empathize with it too. But I want to, as I age and grow older, and I'm 66 now, I'm saying this out loud. I'm okay. I'm proud of that.
And 67 on May 7th.
67 on May 7th, right? And I'm a vivacious 66, almost 67 person.
And you look incredible. I told you that earlier when we met.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I try to take care of myself. And that's the other thing about focus, is that we can get so involved. And I've had times in my career where I was out hosting football games and hosting this and raising money, right? And I would get to the end of the week on Sunday and just be exhausted. And I can't do that anymore. And I think we do. If you're an ambitious person, everybody gets to that place where they can give. But then it's time to pull back and focus and self-care. So I do. I try to, I put a priority on fitness, going to the gym, drinking lots of water, all
Great,
those things
yeah.
that we say. But yeah, I think that the idea of being creative, whether you're creative on your job, whether you're creative even in your home, it requires that thinking about things. And I don't think we talk about that enough as a society.
And we should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
It's interesting because most leaders have a little bit of narcissism in them. Most
Mhm.
leaders do. And I wonder what percentage of the leaders out there go, oh gosh, this is just hogwash.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting. But I think the more and more you can impact those individuals, the more they become the biggest advocates ever. I've noticed.
Oh, absolutely. And I think as a leader in business, I'm a business person, but I'm also a communicator. So to be a successful leader in any organization or department, you have to be forward thinking, and you have to get your team on the same page going to the future together. And of course, you have to deal with the crisis in the present and the issues and opportunities in the present, but you also have to be helping everyone participate and communicate, what they see are critical issues that can impact or open new doors to the future. That's why I wrote Strategic Impact. It's based on a framework for strategic planning that can help even small nonprofits that can't afford to hire somebody to come in to do their own thing, but some principles of being able to be strategic and take the time to get away for a half day or a day and start to talk about these things and figure out the goals.
But I think that if we can distill it down, it starts, let's start with 7 minutes. Let's take the 7 minutes and share the 7 questions. And let's let the 99 people that aren't doing this.
Yeah.
So people who are watching this, take the 7 minutes, click on the questionnaire, answer the 7 questions in 7 minutes, and then put it down for a little bit. And then after time, use that to help develop your personal purpose.
Oh, I think so. And
everybody.
You will be welcome to have this as a link for people to be able to do it.
And we'll add it.
Yeah.
Carol, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, I'm still having like goose pimples because of the excitement that this evolution that you are living, and you're continuing to create every single day. And doing things like this, I think, reaffirm why you do what you do.
Thank you,
Would you
Jim.
agree?
I would agree, and I think my Christian faith comes into play here. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." And I think about every single day. Sometimes you get up and you just don't feel like as enthusiastic. Yes, but when I think about that scripture in my life, this is the day to seize and being joyful.
Every day.
This day, every day.
You mentioned earlier on the being around people and being optimistic and people as opposed to being pessimistic.
Right.
And I use the term pessimistic poops. Yeah. And you should not stay away from pessimism. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, go back to bed.
Right.
No one wants to see you.
Right.
And so if you, and you're allowed to have a bad day.
Right.
You're allowed to.
We're human.
We're human. Absolutely.
Right? But the idea of purpose and being purposeful, I think that is the driving force that can help someone stay optimistic all of their life.
Wow. That's the word that I'm going to share. It's just wow. Those of you who had the opportunity to spend the last 20 minutes or so with myself and Carol and hear this evolution that she's currently living, I think that encourages you to do the same thing. It encouraged me. And I've never done it. I've actually never taken the time to write down what is my personal purpose. And I'm excited now to take the 7-minute, we want to call it the 7-minute challenge. 7 minutes, 7 questions, answer them, and answer them very quickly, and then go back and continue that evolution of what your personal purpose is. And I think that if you take away what Carol said about her personal purpose and how the fact that it hasn't changed the last dozen years, and how she's continuing to impact other individuals, helping define their personal purpose, is very impactful. So again, great having you, Carol. Great having you all here today. And on behalf of the entire Business AHA team and board developer, our gracious host, Rift, for having us and for our hosting our series. It's been wonderful, and we're looking forward to next time. Thanks for being here.